Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about Siser EasySubli and how to use it on cotton or dark colors with sublimation. So if you want to do sublimation on cotton or dark colors, EasySubli is a great alternative. And I have used it in the past, but I wanted to do a full video on it because there are two different ways that you can use EasySubli depending on what printer you have. And if you've ever struggled with EasySubli in the past, hopefully one of these methods will fix those struggles for you. So I'm going to do one method where we're going to print directly on the EasySubli and cut it with a Cricut machine. And I'm going to do a second method where we're going to cut the EasySubli separately, print just on sublimation paper, and put the two together on the shirt. So this method is good for printers where the ink on the EasySubli doesn't dry, where you're getting roller marks, or where the EasySubli does not feed through your printer. All of those issues are common with the Epson sublimation printers, Epson EcoTank conversions especially. So if you have those, be sure to watch that portion of the video and if you've had those troubles. So first of all, let's take a look at the supplies we're going to use for this project. So you're going to need your Siser EasySubli. So I have a package that comes with the EasySubli as well as the mask. You will need the mask for one of the methods. The other method you may or may not need it. Then I'm going to add mine to a black cotton shirt. This can go on cotton, polyester, dark colors, light colors, whatever you would like it to go on. And I'm going to use a dark color cotton shirt just to illustrate what it will do. Weeding tools and a scraper are a good idea. And then you're going to need your Cricut machine, sublimation printer with sublimation ink, as well as a heat source for this product. The first method, I'm going to use my Sawgrass printer, and then the other methods, I'm going to use the Epson printer, and I will show you why later in this video. So let's head to Cricut Design Space and take a look at the first method. Alright, this first method of using EasySubli is primarily for a Sawgrass printer. I don't have luck with this method with my Epson printers, and I will show you why that is. So for this version, I went ahead and uploaded my design. So you'll go to Upload, Upload Image, find the image on your computer. I like to click Complex and click Continue. This one was already a PNG file with the background removed, so we can do Apply and Continue. If yours does not have the background removed, you will need to use the tools on the left to remove the background. And then I'll save as a print and cut image and click Upload. Then just pick that from my upload screen and click Add to Canvas. Once it's on your canvas, you want to resize it. I'm making it the maximum size. So for Cricut, the maximum print and cut size is 6.75 by 9.25 inches. And I made my height the maximum at 6.75 inches and let my width be whatever it wanted to be. You can use any Cricut machine except for the Cricut Joy for print and cut. So any of those will work with EasySubli. And then we're going to go ahead and click Make It. When you're printing directly on EasySubli, you do not mirror your design. So in this case, we're going to print directly on the EasySubli material. So we are not going to mirror. And we're going to click Continue. We're going to go ahead and click Send to Printer. I'm going to pick my Sawgrass Print Manager. And I'm going to go ahead and add bleed around the outside because I think that will give me a cleaner look on my final project. And I'm going to click Print. You'll want to pick Siser EasySubli vinyl here. You want to make sure that the mirror button is not checked. We do not want to mirror, remember that. And on layout, you want to make sure that you have preserve layout from designer checked because you want this black box to be in the right location so your Cricut machine cuts in the right area. Then we're going to click Print. I already have my Siser EasySubli in my Sawgrass printer. Let's take a look at the material and what side you want to print on. The EasySubli package comes with two things. The smaller of the two, which is an 8x10 sheet, is the mask. Should be sticky if you peel back like the liner. The second is the EasySubli itself and is what you want to print on. You'll print on the rough side, so it'll have a rough side as well as a smooth, shiny side. You want to print your print on the rough side. If you peel back this shiny piece, you'll see that it is just a carrier sheet and it's clear. You want to print on the white. You want your EasySubli to be as dry as possible before you cut. So if you find that it's wet coming off the Sawgrass printer, I set my heat press to the temperature for EasySubli, which is 311 degrees. And then I just hover the heat press over the sheet, not touching the sheet, just hovering it over the top for 1 to 2 minutes. And that usually dries it enough in order to cut it with your Cricut machine. And I just test it with my fingers in the corner of the box to make sure that that ink is not lifting. Then once it's dry enough to cut, you'll just put it on your Cricut mat and press it down well. And at this point, you'll just want to check again like a corner Feels pretty dry to me. And now we can cut it on our Cricut. So I'm gonna use the everyday iron-on setting to cut this, and I went ahead and moved my star wheels all the way over to the right. That way if any of this ink is damp at all, hopefully it will not smear because those wheels are not running over the top of it. I have my fine point blade installed. I'm gonna go ahead and load our mat, and then we'll just press go to cut. First, it will look for the box around the outside edge. Now, if you have an Explorer Air 2, you could have issues reading the box on some sublimation printers. Then you would just go over the box with something like a black permanent marker in order to get your Cricut machine to cut. The sensor on the Explorer Air 2 is not as sensitive as the Explorer 3, the Maker, and the Maker 3. Once it reads the box, it will start cutting your design. Then once it's done cutting, we're just going to remove this from the machine. Now let's take a look at weeding this material. You weed this material similarly to the way you weed anything else. So I'm going to pull out everything around the outside edge and then remove anything in the center that I don't want transferred to my shirt. So things like the centers, I will just remove those. Once everything's been weeded, you can add the mask to the top. Now this is optional, so if this was a simple design like just a circle, I could lift it up with my hands and go ahead and apply it to my shirt. This design, however, is fairly complicated, and I might get some pieces messed up, especially like right through here, I might get these messed up. So I'm gonna use the mask to lift it. So we just peel the mask back and add it to the EasySubli, and then just press it down really well onto the material. And I have left mine on the mat this entire time because I find that fairly easy, but now we're gonna need to pick it up. So I pick up everything, including the backer, and I'm gonna burnish this material from the back as well. Then I like to peel the backing back from the material. This is best peeled at a 90-degree angle back on itself, and just slowly peel it back. And I actually held the corner there, and you can do that as well. So I'm just gonna keep peeling this back until my entire design is on the mask. Now I have the EasySubli completely on the heat transfer mask, and now we can head to the heat press and press. So we're gonna preheat the garment for 2-3 seconds. Then we're gonna put the EasySubli down on the garment. Even with the mask, I am gonna add a piece of protective paper here. Then I'm going to press 311 degrees, medium pressure, 15 seconds. Then once that press is done, I'm gonna peel the EasySubli mask back warm. If needed at this point, you could recover with paper or a Teflon sheet and press for 5 to 10 seconds more if you felt like it was lifting in any areas. I did want to note that you want to wait 24 hours before you wash it for the first time. Machine wash cold with mild detergent, machine dry on low setting, no dry cleaning, no bleach. And here's that version all pressed and on my shirt. So you can see just how bright the whites stay. So any place where there isn't any print and you don't weed away the material will be white. And I do love that it stays white even though it's on a black shirt. Okay, so I just wanted to pause here and say that I always have trouble with the mask that comes with EasySubli. I just don't feel like it's sticky enough, and I just struggle with getting it to stick. So I dropped back on this video and I actually used, there's a KTM heat mask from Heat Transfer Warehouse, and I gave it a try with EasySubli just to see if it would work, and it worked great. Personally, for me, I would rather use it with the EasySubli itself. That way I don't struggle with getting the EasySubli to stick to their mask. So for this version that I just showed in the video, I actually used the KTM mask from Heat Transfer Warehouse for pressing this shirt. And I did find it worked the same as when I tried the EasySubli mask for another shirt. So now let's talk about the second method for using Siser EasySubli. The alternate way to use EasySubli is to print on sublimation paper and cut the EasySubli separately and sublimate on top of it. So in that case, I have my same print here, and I am going to do an offset around it. So I'll do offset, and here we could pick whatever offset that you particularly like. So I'm going to make it 0.125 and click apply. And then for my offset, I want to change that to a cut. And we can remove all these inner cuts or leave them. It is completely up to you. I'm going to use the contour feature and remove those. Once I have that contour pulled up, I can just click hide all contours, and I'll just be left with the outline around the outside. So now I have a cut layer, which is my offset layer, and this same printable layer. And now I'll click Make It. I'm going to do On a Mat and click Confirm. And this time what we'll do is we will print this on just sublimation paper using our sublimation printer with sublimation ink. And then I'm going to cut this from the EasySubli. So in order to do that, the EasySubli is not mirrored. However, you will need to mirror this design. And you can mirror it here, or you can mirror it in your printer settings. One or the other and not both. I'm going to mirror it in my printer settings and I'll click Continue. Then I'll click Send to Printer. When I'm doing it this way, I do not add bleed, and I click Use System Dialog, and I'll click Print. So for the F170, I would click Preferences. I would do Textile here, High Quality, and I would turn off bidirectional, but leave mirror on, remember. Now, if you're using your Epson EcoTank that you converted for sublimation, we can pick that. Click Preferences, and I like to do a Premium Presentation Matte, High Quality, More Options, High Speed Off, Mirror On, remember. And then we can click OK and Print. There are a few problems with printing directly on the EasySubli. So this is EasySubli. With the Epson printers, couple problems. The first is with my Epson EcoTank. I've gotten it to print before. I could not get it today. Sometimes it just will not feed through. The back is really slick, and my EcoTank feeds paper from the back, and sometimes it just will not feed the EasySubli. That's what happened today. And with the Epson printers, I find the ink doesn't dry. So the Sawgrass printer I have has the EasySubli inks, which are specifically formulated to dry on this material. This one I printed on my Epson F170, and for some reason this printed red, which I don't understand because the rest of this is black. But I can't use it anyway because no matter what I do, I can't get the ink to dry. So you can probably see it smear here. The ink just never dries on my Epson printers. And I have tried many things to get that to happen. And with the Epson EcoTank, the rollers are so close to the printed area that it will leave roller marks as well, which is another problem. Now, some people say they have luck with the trick I just showed you and hovering it over. I've done that. I've even let it sit for like 48 hours. And it still has never been dry enough to cut with my Cricut machine. So that is my experience. However, you might find that that first method works for you if you have an Epson printer. The EasySubli material is expensive, so like I did here, I printed on half for my experiment, and then I could use like the other half for another project or to experiment with another print setting. So I would recommend something like that. However, I'm not going to use this method with my Epson because I don't have any luck with it. So what am I going to do? So I have my print that I mirrored and printed, and this one I printed off my Epson EcoTank printer. Does not matter, you just want to print it on sublimation paper with sublimation ink. And then I have the EasySubli just by itself on the Cricut mat, and we're going to cut that offset off of here. Then we're going to put the offset on our shirt and sublimate this on top. So let's cut this EasySubli first. Again, I'm picking the everyday iron-on setting, and I did not mirror my design, and I have my fine point blade installed. Then we can just press the go button to cut that offset. Then we'll just remove this and weed away the excess. Then we'll just weed away the excess like before. This time we just have an outline around our design. I removed everything from the center with that contour feature. Then we can remove this from the mat. All I'm going to do to put this on my shirt instead of using that mask is to just peel it off since it's just one piece. So I'm just going to peel it off and place it onto my shirt in my heat press. Then you will also want to cut around this. Now the drawback of this method is you have to locate this design on that EasySubli sort of blind. So you don't know exactly where it does go. But I do know I don't want the black box on here. So I'm going to cut the black box away. And then what I like to do is trim close in a few areas. So like the corner here. So I can trim around this T fairly close. And it'll help me locate my design. Then I can trim around the B. And once again, you can just do this with scissors. You don't have to cut this on your Cricut. So I'm just going to trim around each of the four corners closely so that I can better locate the print when it's on my shirt. Then the other tip is to find something that sticks out of the design and trim around it. In this case, I'm going to use this hat because it's going to be a feature that sticks out on the design. So I'm just going to trim pretty closely around it. So now this should work to help me locate this print over the top of this, even after it's pressed, because I can kind of see my corners and make sure it's located correctly. So now let's head to our heat press and press. I went ahead and pre-pressed my shirt once again. I covered the EasySubli with protective paper, pressed at 311 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 seconds just to get it stuck down. Then I removed that protective sheet and located my sublimation design. And then I applied heat 385 degrees for about 30 seconds, again adding protective paper over the top of the sublimation print. And you can tape it into place as well to make sure that it doesn't move as you sublimate. And then you can remove everything from the top hot. So here's my shirt after pressing with this method. Now, these colors aren't exactly what I had intended. So the file I had was more pastel, especially in these lighter colors. And these greens are quite a bit different. But that's okay, that is what my EcoTank does. It makes everything a little bit different in color, sometimes than I had intended it to be. However, this does look really good, and I feel like I got the location pretty good using the method that I used. So drawbacks of this method are locating the design, and then the entire thing basically has to be white, or you need an outline. You'll never line it up exactly with this method. There's just too much error in it. So here's a comparison of the two methods and how they both look on a shirt. Overall, I really love both methods. I did follow the instructions with this one, which said the 311 degrees for 15 seconds, and I do feel like maybe it could have used a little more heat, so I might actually play with the heat with this method. This method, I feel like the heat is fine, what I chose for it. Now this method, I just made up the time and temperature. There is no official time and temperature for this method from Siser because the EasySubli is made to be used with a Sawgrass with these inks and using this method. All right, so my second method turned out great, and it does not matter which one of these you like the look of better. So you might like the look of this one better, however, you have a Sawgrass sublimation printer. You can use this method with the Sawgrass printer, or you could add the offset around it and do the print then cut with the Sawgrass printer the way we did it before, but just have it cut around the outside edge. You could do that as well in Cricut Design Space. So if you like this look, you can definitely get it with the Sawgrass printer. So I'm not saying these are exclusive to the printers, and this version, I have heard people say that they were able to do it on their Epson printer. I just never have been able to do it. And I have spent hours trying to use this method and various tips and tricks with my Epson EcoTank converted printer and have never ever been able to do it. So you might be able to do it. I just wanted to caution you that it might not be possible, and there are alternate methods to do it. And the EasySubli material itself is very expensive, so I didn't want you wasting tons of material thinking that you have to use it with that first method. You can definitely just drop back, use it with the second method if you're struggling, and your shirts will just have a little bit of a different look. So hopefully this helps you know how to use Siser EasySubli with your sublimation printer. I'm going to link to all of the supplies I'm using in the description below this video. If you're on computer, scroll down, click show more below the video. If you're watching on a mobile device, click the arrow to expand the description or swipe up on the video depending on how you're watching. Then you'll get a list of links you can click and purchase any supplies that you need to give this project a try for yourself. I'll also include a link to the sublimation file, so if you want to grab that and make a shirt just like the one I made, you're welcome to do that as well. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you have any questions about Siser EasySubli, drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you liked this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.